Women of Reddit, what's something every girl should know but is rarely taught? Strategies for financial independence, self-defense, self-love, and assertive communication. It's okay to be rude if someone won't leave you alone. You don't owe anyone your time or energy. I know I'm late to the party, but even if only one person sees this, there is no shame in doing a pregnancy test. In fact, if something is weird with your hormones/body that you haven't experienced much before, it's always better to do a test just to be sure. Even if it's unlikely you are pregnant, if there is any likelihood at all, just do the test and be sure. I heard of it so many times at this point that even fully grown women hesitate, sometimes for weeks, to do a test, and it can land you in hot waters. Besides, it is agony to have that creeping doubt. Every contraceptive can fail, and it's much better to know early and have all the options. On that same note, cheap pregnancy tests work exactly the same and are just as effective as expensive pregnancy tests. I keep a multi-pack of cheap stick tests just to be sure. Ladies, when you go for a smear test, or pap smear for my American gals, they guess the size of the instrument, the speculum, they need to use on you based on your height. It shouldn't be painful, you can ask for a smaller one if it hurts. They just don't offer that info out. How to measure a bra? Honestly, sewing and altering clothes not for gendered reasons, but because our clothes oftentimes fit irregularly. A size 12 in one brand will fit completely differently from a size 12 in a different brand. Also, you can learn to sew larger pockets into your pants. Clean your makeup brushes. Your skin will thank you. How to wash genitals. Many women have gotten infections due to not knowing how to wash themselves. Like fragrant soaps or douching is obviously bad but not taught very often. Edit. This video by an OBGYN will show you how to clean your vulva. Weightlifting and strength training is good for you, and more women should lift. Edit. All the comments amaze me. Not only do you get to say no whenever you want, you also get to say yes when you want. Don't let society teach you that you need to act shy or play games in order to be desirable. As a society, in order to stand our ground that no means no, women must also be willing to express when it's a yes. How to change a tire. You do not have to take care of everyone around you. Don't hold different standards for yourself that you wouldn't hold for the ones you care about. Take action and yourself at first priority. If your gut is telling you that a guy/a group is making you uncomfortable, excuse yourself accordingly and don't underestimate your gut. If you think your period has started and/or leaked, don't wait and check. Road trip and need to use the restroom? Due to our lack of water pistols, please stop at a gas station. Also, just a note, your tummy will look different throughout the day. Usually it gets larger and smaller post-meal and from varying gas amounts. It's okay. They're made to protect organs, anyway, they don't have to be as flat as a door. Lumps in your breasts are not always cancer. Of course, get them checked out, but it is common to find cysts in your breasts. Source: found a lump in my breast, freaked out, searched Google, freaked out more, stewed for months, booked an appointment with my OBGYN only for him to tell me yeah, it's a cyst, stop messing with it. It's common. Edit, *, do not stew for months. Go to the doctor ASAP*. What candy is so bad that you'd turn it down if it were offered to you? I have barely scrolled and this entire list is like a list of all my dad's go-to candies. He's 68 years old. Necco, black licorice, wax bottles, good and plenty, etc. Growing up, I think he bought them just because he knew we hated them so he wouldn't have to share, but even now I still catch him eating Neccos. They're all god-awful. Pumpkin-flavored Laffy Taffy. Just tasting that stuff makes me gag, and I only ever had one piece of it. Once while visiting China, my in-laws offered me a piece of candy that looked exactly like a piece of baby corn but in gummy form. They told me it was corn candy and was pretty well liked as a gummy bear-like equivalent. I was expecting a sweet-tasting candy but it tasted just like corn. So similar it was disturbing. I can't say it was disgusting because I genuinely do like corn, but it feels unholy to eat. That cheap chocolate in many coins, bunnies etc. It has a rabbit smiling logo. I hate it. It's like skim chocolate. No consistency, no flavor, like wax. I cannot. Edit, as many said Palmer is what I think of. Yes, many other oily chocolates rather than cocoa butter likely yield same disappointment. That ribbon candy older ladies always seem to have in a candy dish. That 99.9% of the time becomes one giant candy. Sugar-free Haribo gummy bears. Better than X-Lax. After Halloween last year we had about 100 pounds of candy corn. It was all in date and retail packaged. Nobody wanted it, even for free. Someone told me they like candy corn, so I showed up to their job and left a 50 pounds box in his office. He wasn't thrilled. Cotton candy pickle, it was being served at a Texas fair as I flat out refused it, cause why the F would you wrap cotton candy on a pickle dipped in chocolate? Pick something else? Like ice cream or baked good. Durian candy. Probably what Satan's asshole tastes like. Those wax bottles. They're not that bad, but they're not good. Button candy. Little dots of colored candy on a ribbon of paper. You try and peel off the candy and the paper was stuck to the back of it. Zebra gum. Flavor fades faster than the speed of light. By the time you recognize a flavor, it's been gone from the stick of gum for years. Good and plenty. You can tell it's from a time a good day just meant not dying in the mine during your 14-hour shift. Those orange and black, no name whatever the fucks that old people give out at Halloween. There was sugar-free gummy bears that made my ass sound like a war zone one time. I swear I dropped the biggest bomb possible in the Walmart. If it were lethal, the Walmart would have died in less than a second. Not only was there shit in the toilet, but it was over all of my clothes and somehow on the damn roof. What's the craziest thing an ex-friend/lover has done to you? Found out my long-distant boyfriend of 3 years got married and had a baby while we were together. He was in my town every weekend. It was nuts. Got mail delivered to my house when she found out I was going to break up with her. Then wouldn't leave when I did break up with her. I called the police, and since she received mail at my house they said it was officially her residence as well. I had to call my landlord and have him evict me to get her to leave. Once she left he rescinded the eviction notice and I moved back in. My ex donated a kidney to me. It still wows me how she decided without even a moment of hesitation. Great person for sure. She met me for a date, went to go meet her parents. I had a beer with her dad while she went upstairs and fucked her brother-in-law. Then she came downstairs and left with me to resume our date. I found out after the fact, got tested and dumped her ass. Edited because people found original comment confusing. Called me at 3 in the morning to yell at me and call me a whore for liking a YouTube video by Dashi a month before. Tried to tell me she was pregnant when I broke up with her for being a compulsive liar, which just confirmed that she was indeed a compulsive liar. Had a girlfriend edit old Facebook Messenger timestamps to make it look like I was cheating on my new girlfriend. Would like to say that my taste got better, but I got stabbed after that by an ex. Came over to my house and punched me awake because I didn't answer her phone call. Because I was sleeping. Oh, and she stabbed me with a pencil. Ex-boyfriend just absolutely lost it when I had enough and ended things. He took my dog when he went back to work, away from home. Told my parents I was suicidal, so he had to know where I was, and when I tried staying at either of my parents' places, my vehicle would get vandalized. Threatening to take me to the police because he had someone do something to his house and demanded that I give him money because it had to be me. I was at the bar on the night in question. Blackmailed me for my dog, threatening that he was gonna have one of his friends shoot her, or that he was going to release her in traffic and if she gets hit it's my fault. My work had to create a plan where the building would go on lockdown should he show up, as he was threatening that too. The final straw was when my brother left his phone out and my ex was non-stop calling it. I picked up and lost my absolute shit. I found a place to rent, told nobody, not even family, as my dad thought I was being dramatic and should forgive him because he's a good guy on paper. Yeah, that man can be another post, and somehow made out all right but drank a bit in this time. My mom sent me a picture one day of my dog in her house. I hauled ass to her house. She will never admit to it, but I think she paid him money so I could have her, as she was important to me. Now, she is snoring in bed beside me 6 years later. Edit, grammatical correction. She made a key to my house and stole my dog after we broke up. She then called me and told me she found said dog running loose in my neighborhood. Neighbor had it all on video. Dog was very confused. Helped me pack. Knew I was putting things into storage. Put raw chicken into a Rubbermaid with appliances they knew I wouldn't open for months. She tried to do a three-way with me and her friend once she found out I had a new girlfriend, in order to break us up. I declined. Then she got her friend, yes the same one, to hook up with my buddy, who then convinced him to invite her to a party at his house I went to. I went into the bathroom and when I opened the door she was standing there. Freaked me the fuck out. I said hi, excuse me, I'm about to leave this house when she pushed me as hard as she could back into the bathroom and came in and locked the door. At this point I freaked out and just started yelling for help. My buddy and a few others came and unlocked the door and pulled her out and I was able to get out of the bathroom. I started walking upstairs to head to the door and get in my truck to leave, when she flies out the door, and runs to my truck. She stands there while I am standing there in disbelief. At this point we had been broken up for months. I walked back inside and one of her friends approached me and told me if I told her, the friend, that I never wanted to see or talk to my ex again she would let me leave. I complied and told her friend that it was over and I never wanted anything to do with my ex again. I waited a few and peeked outside and saw the coast was clear and started heading to my truck. I hear a scream and look over and my ex is running full speed at me screaming. Out of nowhere another lady does a full-on tackle of my ex and says get the fuck out of here. As I drive away I get a call from the party saying she locked herself in the bathroom with a knife threatening to off herself. I called her parents and kept driving. This all happened after she did the following. 1. Called me hundreds of times from a dozen numbers to which I blocked and requested she doesn't call. 2. Egged new girlfriend's car. 3. Tried to get me to do threesome. 4. Tried to make me fuck buddies. 5. Asked a very desperate friend of mine to prom hoping to get in our group. 6. Followed me to work, home. 2 years later, I have a new phone number and am in college. I get a call and answer it. It's her. No idea how she found me. She asked if I went to the local university to which I replied yes. I did not actually go there, I went to a state college. She enrolled in that university. That's the end of that story. Update, thanks for the concern, this was 19 years ago and I'm safe. I only heard from her one more time and that was 15 years ago. Hoping that's the end of it. Thanks for my first awards. Glad my crazy ex earned me some internet points. An ex poisoned my dog. One time my GF at the time was staying over. I'd been at work late the night before so I wanted to sleep in. She tried to wake me. It didn't work so I fell back to sleep. So after an unknown amount of time, I was in deep sleep, she apparently lost patience. She put her mouth directly against my ear and screamed as loud as she could. A high-pitched horror movie scream. The pain was immediate. It's been about 15 years and my left ear, if I'm in a loud place, buzzes like I've got a wasp in my ear. It sounds exactly like a blown-out speaker. This was just one of the things she did. When I broke up with her she told all her friends I beat her up and they still believe her. Ex-wife befriended a pedophile on parole at her job, and bought him cell phones with cash for him to use to keep in touch with his former young lovers, violating his parole conditions of having no internet access, smartphones, or social media accounts of any kind. She was dumb enough to admit all of this in front of security cameras with microphones. Footage was provided to the local sheriff's department once it was discovered. Soon after this, she secretly planned to move him into our home, and gave him our Wi-Fi password. She acquired a gun and bragged to her coworkers about how she was going to get rid of me and give the pedophile his freedom back. Luckily one of her coworkers got a hold of me and told me her plan. Within an hour I had confronted her and our 7-year marriage was over. Since she didn't get to use the gun on me, her psychosis drove her to use it on our dog once I left the house and relationship because she didn't like the way the dog was looking at her. Oh, and our local sheriff's department was utterly, frustratingly useless despite all the evidence of plotting a murder, possessing a weapon in the living space of a convicted felon, and numerous parole violations. Turns out an officer involved was just arrested for numerous sex crimes himself.